What's up, YouTube? I'm here with my kitty, or rather my roommate's kitty, Basil. Can you see her? Sorry, I'm not trying to show you my stomach. There's Basil. So we are chilling, and we are about to make an AMFG. And by we, I mean me. Anyway, this is David's game from the under 1700 section at the Marshall Chess Club. And I don't see the result, but I think he lost this. But he got a great position. I mean, overall, I'd say this game is very well played. I'm going to throw the engine on. Even though I've already taken my notes, I pretty much know what I want to talk about in this game. But David said he didn't want to play d4 because it leads to a draw. I mean, I wouldn't say exactly d4 leads to a draw. I mean, there's a lot of variations where white has tactics and is totally winning, and then there's one that's very drawish, as far as I know. But d3 is chosen by the GM, so it must be good. Now it's more like a Italian game. No real comments so far, especially after c3. This is basically an Italian game. Yeah, and oops, what? Spoiler alert. Sorry about that. Yeah, so no comments so far. Yeah, bishop d7 is like kind of a lame move. It's like the first move out of theory. Bishop e6 makes more sense. Challenge this guy. Oops. All right, I can do this. Challenge this guy. Yeah, here rook e1 was played. Yeah, remember the engine said b4 here. This makes some sense. Gaining some space. Okay, the structure looks a little ugly, but yeah, what is black really going to do about it? Kicks the bishop back. Maybe play a4, a5. It stops the knight from ever harassing this bishop on this good diagonal, so this bishop can pretty much stay on this diagonal forever. In the game, the bishop went here, but if you have a choice, it's much better to be on this diagonal, unless you need to be on c2 to defend the e4 pawn at some point. But this is a small matter, but b4 is an interesting move. When your opponent does something like bishop d7, which you know is not book, you should stop thinking about what's normal and start thinking how to take advantage of it. Anyway, rook e1 is nothing wrong with that. Rook e8. This is very normal Italian game, and Lopez type of remaneuver. Knight's not great here. Now it can come to the king side and attack. We'll go to the center. Black kind of does a similar thing, bringing his knight into attack. He gets a f4 square. But yeah, this is an interesting point. David plays d4. Yeah, he said he was over-calculating. He was pretty sure knight e5 wins a free pawn. So let's look at knight e5. So knight e5, his point is that, okay, if black takes, then white just takes this knight for free. But of course it's not so simple, because he can take the knight. Now if you take this, he can take the bishop, takes, and yeah. You still want a pawn, but according to the engine, black has full compensation. And it makes sense. This square is hit. If you defend it like this, presumably this can be taken, or even attack the queen first. Now you can't take. Still saying black has compensation. Oh yeah, now this pawn hangs. Yeah, I know I'm not going that deep into the variations, but the idea is just to help you think about these positions. And yeah, things are not so simple. But the idea of getting a discovery on this knight is a good idea. And yeah, this would be a good move. Hitting the f7 square and hitting the knight. So pretty much the knight has to be taken. In this case, the knight can't just retreat because yeah, either piece taking would be devastating for black. Right. So yeah, this would be a good move. And yeah, there's two threats, so this pretty much has to be taken. And now there's a threat here. f6 can't be played, it's illegal because this nice bishop here. Again, b4 would have been nice, just stopping any knight a5 ever. Yeah, so black has to do something awkward like this to defend both these points. Well, that doesn't even defend. But it counterattacks. This is what I think the main lesson you can learn from computers um, is computers will always try to counterattack if possible. So rather than making a defensive move, I mean, it helps they can calculate like a billion variations a second, which we can't do. So we just can't expect ourselves to play like computers. But yeah, one thing, and actually strong grandmasters too. You look at a position and you see one side attacking and then the other side's defending, and then it looks like, okay, well, now the attacking side has to stop because the opponent is making counter threats, but then they keep attacking and defending at the same time. It's kind of inspiring in some games. Anyway, I digress. So David played d4, which is also good, but after ed, he takes with the knight, which is wrong. So why is this wrong without looking at variations or engine moves? Well, okay, taking, it does create a discovery on the knight, but you're not winning a pawn, and the knight can just retreat. And now you don't have two pawns in the center. This knight in the center, but yeah, engine, I'm looking at engine now. The engine says that black is actually pretty much equal, maybe even slightly better. And so remember, creating a discovery is great, but if you can just parry that threat with counterattack, it's not good. So here, this is just typical Italian game stuff. If you can play c takes d, hitting the bishop with tempo, that's just good. So now you have the pawn duo. Black doesn't. Your light squared bishop's better than black's. His dark squared bishop is maybe not better than yours because he's not hitting f2 anymore. It goes here, and it says e3. Probably this is also good. Yeah, equally good. Now it's saying it's not equally good, but yeah, after takes with the queen. Okay, you no longer have discoveries here, but look at your bishop versus his bishop. You can never come here because you can push here. Well, maybe you can. Maybe you can. You can always have to calculate, but knight a5 is not possible because the queen's covering it. So yeah, this is just, and it says 0.3, but I mean, I'd much rather be white than black here. So yeah, this was up until move 11. Yeah, this is probably the first slip up of the game, and yeah. Anyway, black just retreats. Again, aggression in these type of positions. Now this knight is pinned to this pawn. G3. There already might be some sacrifices here. Knight takes. Well, no, not yet because this knight is a good defender. But white really doesn't want to play G3 and weaken his king. But instead black retreats the knight. Overall, I'd say that this game is pretty good quality from David, and even from his opponent. I mean, it's an under 1700 game, so I thought it was pretty good. So David jumps in with the knight. Nothing wrong with that. Moving towards the king side, going for knight f5 or knight f5, knife f5, as Feingold would say. Yeah, another problem with the knight here instead of the pawn is this pawn here is far weaker than the pawn would be here, not controlling central square. So bishop goes back, still keeping an eye on the king side. Looks like black's going for some kind of sacrifice ideas over here. Yeah, nothing really wrong with. Okay, now it's saying there's something wrong with that. Yeah, sorry about that. Engine liked that for a second, but yeah, it doesn't make much sense. Yeah, rook e3, bishop f4 working in, but it's a nice safe move. Yeah, now this is an interesting point. Okay, the knight moves. Now this pawn is hit twice. Well, it is defended twice. Let's see. So I appreciate David for actually giving comments on this. Usually he's just like analyzes blitz game, and I don't have anything to say. But here he has stuff to say. So I want to develop bishop and queen here, but bishop e3 loses. Pawn e4, and queen d3 looks cool because e5 can lead to queen. Oh yeah, e5 can lead to queen takes. Here, winning a piece, but d takes leaves the knight hanging. Okay, so he's thinking ahead. This is good. So he first reinforced the e4 pawn by bishop c2. But if you're playing bishop c2, then your whole idea of ever playing queen takes knight fails. Or really, you don't want to play queen c2 unless you absolutely have to. Like, say the knight's going to come to harass this bishop and win it. I mean, yeah, the whole point of the Italian game is you have your bishop on this really good diagonal, so you don't want to move it. But on the other hand, you do have to defend this pawn, or do you? So here, computer gives knight to h4 as a very good move. So what's the deal with knight h4? How come? Are they just winning this? Well, there's some cool sacrifices here. So knight h5. If knight takes, queen takes, and you got your queen in perfect position where you wanted her, threatening to win this pawn, you don't have to worry about defending this anymore. And yeah, white's pieces are better. This bishop might sacrifice. And in fact, if knight takes here, the bishop can sacrifice. This is all a little tricky to see, but it's not that hard to see. Like, probably a 2400 would see this. So, not rook takes and then knight here. Although that might also be. Let's see, we sacrificed one piece. Is this good? I mean, it's okay, but it's not winning. It's better for white. Queen f3 is much better. And note the power of this bishop here, which is the whole reason you play the Italian game, is to try to give some kind of mate on f7, or at least keep a bunch of pressure there. And yeah, this knight is hit twice. It has to do something. And if knight here, which is the kind of obvious beginner type of defense, and all of a sudden you have unstoppable threats on g2. So that's forced mate. So again, let's take that from the top. So it's a very, very tricky move to find, but if you want to jump from 1600 to over 2000, these are the type of moves that you're going to have to find. I'm not sure if I would find this move, or if I would, probably wouldn't play bishop e2 in a game. Maybe I would play queen f3, although probably wouldn't play queen f3 because of knight h5. I wonder if queen d3. Queen e3 is just okay, equal. So yeah, this is one of these late opening, early middle game positions that makes a difference between mice and men in chess. So, sorry, distracted by the cat. Talking to mice. Anyway, yeah, knight h5. Knight h5. Knight takes e4. Bishop takes h6. And yeah, the nice thing about that move, it pretty much has to be captured because you're creating threats on the g7 pawn. Like if black just does nothing, bishop takes here, or knight takes there. So pawn takes bishop, and then queen f3 threatening mate. Well, not mate, but threatening to crash through here with the bishop or queen, and threatening the knight. And even if you can't calculate beyond that, you can see that yeah, the threats are very severe. Actually, that would be leading to mate because the knight is over here. So knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen f3, and if black allows you to come in here, then you're getting mate on g7. So you don't have to see the variation all the way through. You just see that you're at least getting your sacrifice piece back. So that's good enough. So anyway, bishop c2 is played. Still, black hasn't done anything that wrong. It's like equal now according to engine. Yeah, this bishop here is just nowhere near as good as bishop here generally, unless you can somehow get queen here and get mate on h7. If you can get mate, then that's good. Okay, black's coming in for his own type of attack. Bishop e3. White develops his last minor piece. And knight to h7. So, yeah, black's going backwards. Now, yeah, David really plays a lot of good moves here. Queen h5, hitting the knight, putting pressure. The knight retreats. Bishop goes back. Now with a threat on the g6 knight. King comes towards the center. But yeah, here, bishop takes. Oh yeah, David sees this. Knight takes, excuse me, knight f6. Sacrifice. Bang, bang. And yeah, this is going to be game over if here. Oh yeah, queen takes g6, right? And if here. So the queen has to sacrifice here. So this is a great attack by David. I know David loves to attack. He's an attacking player, and it's nice to see him play an attack that works. You know, build it up, get ready, and then have it succeed. So black has to sacrifice his queen. Queen takes, and then here he starts panicking a little, which I can totally empathize with. This happens a lot to me. I'm winning, but I'm just playing a little too safe. So this is all good. Now the queen comes to. This is another pivotal moment in the game. Now I don't know how much time they had left. I think this was a rapid game, maybe like game 45 or something. Which, on the one hand, it sounds like a lot of time, especially if you play a lot of blitz. You're like, well, 45 minutes. It's plenty of time to play chess, but you know, when you take your time in the opening and middle game, you get to positions like this, and you have like 5-6 minutes left. It's tricky. So David played g3, and he's like, yeah, I felt like if he plays knight h5, knight h4, excuse me, hitting the g2 point, then I'm in trouble. I'm lost. I think lost is a little bit of an overstatement, dude. Remember, you did win a queen for 2 pieces. So even if you have to give the queen back for 2 pieces, plus you're what? 2 pawns up as well. So you're up a ton of material. But yeah, you don't want to be able to play this. So the engine's move, which I like. I'm not sure if I would see this. It's not really that deep or complicated, so maybe I would see e5. He doesn't have time for this because you have a threat, and now you're winning this too, actually. So he has to deal with this. So you are sacrificing a pawn, but not really because you're getting the pawn back. And also your queen is really cramped here, and it's not attacking. And as Major Juak likes to say, you got to remind the guy. What's that from? Oh, Bent Larson originally said it. It's helpful to remind your opponent that he too has a king. So white's up a lot of material, but it's true he has a ton of pieces around his king. So by playing e5, say knight takes here, now we have a threat on the rook. Rook h8, for instance. Can we just take this right now? Does he have? Is he gonna kill us if we do this? Yeah, it looks like he will kill us. Knight f to g5. Yeah, now it's like almost equal because he's attacking with too many. So instead of taking that pawn, f3. Looks a little scary because this diagonal is open, but it's going to take him a while to get the bishop over here. And yeah, most importantly, we're protecting this important g4 square from either of the knights. So yeah, e5 would have been a good move. David plays g3. This is not the end of the world. Knight attacks the queen. Queen comes up with a threat. So black has no time to like harass the queen. And I'm not sure whether David missed that the rook is hanging or maybe the move is wrong. I mean, with 3 minutes on my clock, I've definitely missed stuff like this. I mean, in at least like 4 or 5 rapid games, I've left my queen hanging or fallen for an obvious skewer or fork. I mean, 3 or 4 games, probably dozens of games in rapid time controls. So he missed this, but he played h4. And yeah, bishop back leads to a draw. I mean, bishop back to d1 is very natural because you want to cover this square. Yeah, I mean, it's strange. He says some point he says, at this point I suspected I was lost because all my X pieces were on the wrong side of the board. No way, dude. In this type of position, unless the guy has a forced win, you're never lost when you're up this much material. You can't think like that. You just have to think, how do I consolidate and win? Don't ever think you're lost unless your queen really is trapped or there's some, some puzzle-like situation where it's him to move and he has a forced win your piece. Just, you got to be very careful. Yeah, engine's just saying king g2, and that protects this pawn, which is important because if bishop takes, all of a sudden black might crash through on all these squares. I mean, you really want to play f3, but just to cover the square as much as possible. I wonder if f3 is totally losing. Oh yeah, that's a big problem. So f3 is terrible. Yeah, this is also fine. Covering the square. But bishop b1 is not fine. Oh yeah, fork. Yep, not good. But he doesn't do that. Okay, David, I guess, sees this threat now and covers it. But now bishop f2 is bad. And he says he doesn't have proper notation, but he ended up in rook versus rook and knight that he probably could have held, but it's very low on time. This happens all the time. In this type of positions, you have to just give some stuff back. But remember, you're up so much material. This still should be winning. I mean, still should be winning. In fact, Engine doesn't even say to take it. Bishop e3, trying to win the queen. Queen f5. Knight g5. Excuse me, rook g5. Oh, rook g5. Or other g5. Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, you just have to hold on. You can't have the attitude that black is winning here. Even if black is winning, you can't have that attitude. You just have to have the attitude, I'm up this material, I outplayed you, and now I'm going to keep outplaying you. I don't care about your knights. I'm just going to hold everything. If you have to give this bishop back, all you have to do is keep your king safe and just... And remember, he has a king too. He has pieces too that he can blunder. You can't have the attitude that you're lost if you're up material, unless your king is just utterly exposed. All your your knight and bishop are back here undeveloped. Even then, you just have to. I think one of my weaknesses is just. Well, I mean, all weak players, and by weak I include myself, like anybody below master level. Sometimes you overvalue your positions when you're actually worse, and you undervalue them when you're winning. And I think undervaluing them when you're winning, I mean, I think we could all learn a lesson from Cheese, right? Like, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Cheese. He's a very good player. But, I mean, his confidence levels are, like, off the charts. Like, he just doesn't have a loser's attitude. And I think that's one of the reasons why he does so well, especially in rapid time controls. Again, I'm not trying to take anything away from Cheese. I mean, as far as I've seen, he's also done well in, like, FIDE Mondays and slow time controls. But you just have to have confidence. Don't think you're losing this, because you're not. Anyway, almost 25 minutes. Really long video. But I feel like this game deserves a longer video. It's a good quality game. I'm sorry David ended up losing this, but despite the end result, you shouldn't judge your chess too harshly by the end result. Even though, of course, the end result is the goal. You want to win, but you have to give yourself credit for playing a good game. And yeah, the attack was very good. Yeah, really great stuff here. And you won the queen, and you're 100% not losing this. So good luck in your future games. Check out Wentworth on Netflix. It's really good. Since you recommended BoJack, yeah, YOLO got me into Wentworth, and it's very entertaining. Can really get your mind off your problems, but still keep studying. And sorry I didn't watch your coding videos, dude. I mean, I started to watch them, but I don't want to get myself excited about coding because I'm not going to put time into it right now. Like, when I get in something, I'm into it. And I do want to get into coding eventually, and I appreciate you encouraging me, but I'm just not going to do that right now. But I will do it eventually. I want to get into it with YOLO, because I bet she'd be a good coder too, because she has a very logical mind. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you again in AMFG. What are we at, number 46 now? Is this 36, 46? Anyway, you'll see in the title.